All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you all. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. We actually did catch a nice little short trade on Saturday. I let you guys know about in the Telegram. Played out very, very nicely. But welcome in, guys. Yeshwant, much love to you. Michael Mitzal, welcome in, man. Yes, that's what I was talking about, Michael. That short on Sui, man, 8-to-1 risk to reward ratio, hit it pretty much instantly. Real nice trade there. Jojo, welcome in as well. Thank you for finally catching a live stream, man. Awesome to see you here. R Pink, much love to you, man. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for modding. Thank you for always doing such a good job there. Really appreciate you, man. Team B Willa, hello to you. Welcome in. And Crypto Wander 1, Normal Swede, thank you guys for being here. Much love to you guys. So, all right, guys, over the weekend, we were seeing Bitcoin reject and fall back inside our volume profile. And John, welcome in as well. Good to see it in here. And yeah, we'll cover Turbo in just a bit here. But I just want to take a second to talk about Bitcoin and about this range here. So, first off, we fell back inside of a range after rejecting from that $75,500 level, which was our 0.5 Fibonacci. It was an anchored VWAP on Bybit, and it was also our one-to-one trend-based Fibonacci extinction, pulled from the lows to the highs to these lows here. Looking at a potential bigger like WXY correction here, with it ending in like some sort of contracting diagonal. And the important thing to look at was this push down, whether it was impulsive or corrective. I also mentioned last week, we have to be careful because the last time we thought we were going to get the high into the anchored VWAP, this move down did look more impulsive rather than corrective, but we did end up making a new high and we did continue ranging. But when we left over the weekend, we were kind of chopping around right in this zone, starting to form a range. And you can see that range was forming near the bottom of the pitchfork band. It was also grabbing some local liquidity. We had a local trail of liquidity in here. We were grabbing that liquidity, but we were looking for essentially another low on the charts. And let me just zoom in here onto the hourly chart. And we were looking at this being a 1, 2, 3, and then maybe this was going to be the 4 and we were going to get a 5 here, or we could have had an extended wave for a extended correction through because we were going into the weekend before seeing that final 5th wave to the downside. So it does look like we do have a 5 wave push down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of a flat in here as well. And now we are pushing up in that corrective move. Remember, we wanted to make one more low before seeing a retracement. And those retracement levels are going to be important because that is where we could put in a lower high before dumping pretty aggressively to the downside in a wave 3 to the downside, kind of seeing the bigger breakdown of this entire structure here and this entire range. So what happens now over the next few days with this bounce is going to be really important. First off, you can see we had this box marked out before the weekend. We marked this out last week, which was pretty much the top of the pitchfork band, in confluence with a little SFP of the range high. We had this range that was forming over the weekend, and those were our range highs, that liquidity from our range highs. So we did come up, we did reject this morning from that pitchfork band, but we are still making bullish market structure locally, you know, from the lows that were put in on Sunday. Now, keep in mind, guys, weekend lows. Remember what we often talk about within weekend lows and weekend highs, especially within this range over the past 6 weeks. We had a lot of weekend highs at the beginning, weekend highs, you know, weekend high, weekend high. We ended up taking all the weekend highs out. And then we had some weekend lows that we eventually came down and took out as well. So we do have to keep in mind that we do have a weekend low down here. We also have a weekend low that is in this area that has not been taken yet either. And I believe, let's see, was there one more? Yeah, this guy in here was like super late Friday, very early Saturday morning. So that's pretty much a weekend low as well. But the move up here this morning, yes, it was triggered a little bit by some tweeting and some news that happened, you know, potential news. Maybe it's fake news, maybe not, you know. But what we're looking at is because this impulse to the downside was potentially done. We are looking for a corrective move in a wave 2 that could last a couple more days before seeing that big breakdown. And so for me, if we zoom in onto the lower time frames and we get to analyze the first from the lows here, first off, I do want to say that, and I showed you guys this channel earlier today on the Telegram, after the big drop that happened, let me just back up here. We were ranging in this area throughout the weekend, or through, Friday, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then we got an aggressive drop that happened on Saturday. So kind of breaking this range down, breaking this small intra-week range to the downside. And then we started to form another range in here. But this range was important because it was that selling exhaustion. After you see the aggressive drop to the downside, then you'll start to kind of channel. And these channels are super important. And when you get a lot of overlap within these channels and you start to get bull divs on the chart, money flow rising up on the chart, you can say, hey, maybe the move, the next low, one of the next potential lows could be the low where we want to look for that reversal, because we are starting to see the confirmations and the bull divs on the chart with that selling exhaustion coming in. So we can throw on that channel. This was the channel I had. We kind of had this channel in here and chopping around within this channel, or you could have thrown it to this low here. Either way, very nice channel you were chopping in. But we were able to break out of that channel. We did, and I think my low that I had was right here. Yeah, we were able to break out of that channel. We did drop back into it, but we bounced from the midline. After bouncing from the midline, that is what kind of created our bullish market structure as well. This is a lower high, but we put in our higher low here. Okay, so that's our first sign that we could be breaking market structure bullishly. Then we put in a higher high by breaking this high. Now we've officially changed market structure locally, like 15-minute, to bullish market structure. So now we put in a higher low and then another higher high. So, all right, market structure is finally starting to change. We're seeing the bull divs on the chart. We're seeing money flow rise up. We're seeing the selling exhaustion. Now we could see a bit of a reversal, a bounce, a little bit more of a big bounce. This was interesting because we got the fake out. We fell back into the midline, but after bouncing from the midline, we were able to flip that channel to support, and that is when we got our aggressive move to the upside. After you break out of the channel, we saw one fake out first, but you break out of the channel, you flip it into support, and then you go. I understand that this move here was a little bit based off of Trump tweeting about what's happening geopolitically, things like that, a little bit of a trigger. But if we look at from the lows, there's a couple ways we could count this move to the upside from the Sunday low. We could be looking at, a 1-2, 1-2, and then this is your third wave. And then we're in the 4 now. Third wave would go to here. We're in a potential 4 before seeing a couple 4-5s come in. It doesn't look the cleanest. First of all, if this is your primary wave 1, if this is your primary wave 2, your secondary wave 1 is longer in time and price, and your secondary wave 2 is longer in time and price. Also, you did retrace pretty dang low on that first wave 2 there. Now, we could be saying, okay, is this some sort of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a wave 1, and then you got your wave 2 here, and this was the start of wave 3? Well, you do have overlap between the highs and the lows of your 1 and 4 in here. Now, could it be a contracting diagonal? Yes, it could be. There is a possibility. But what I would say is this push up, this big gap and push up here was interesting, and it does look impulsive. So if we're looking at counting this, 1, 2, 1, 2, this is your third wave up to here. You get a retrace and a 4. You get your 5. Now we would need one more 4 and one more 5 that would potentially end this. Now, I have to say there's a lot of, it's a really messy count here, as far as Elliott waves go. But you have your channeling at the beginning. You get your big gap up in price. And now we're starting to see our channeling here up at the top. And a couple things to look for. We're at the value area high of the range. So if we zoom out to the hourly chart, we're going to also talk in terms of our volume profile strategy, because last week I mentioned to you guys that if you do fall back inside your volume profile after attempting to see a breakout, let me just go to the 3-hour chart here. So last time we attempted to break out, we created a failed auction, rejecting from the anchored VWAP. We fell back inside, back tested, and then fell to the value area low because we found reacceptance back within the range. Well, last week, you know, a failed breakout, a little bit of a failed auction, fell back in the range, back tested. In this back test here, we shorted, by the way, looking for at least a new low to take out this low. That was a winning trade there. But we came down and, you know, we started to break the POC over the weekend. You can see even on low time frames, we flipped the POC to resistance and then we made a new low. But now we're, you know, bouncing. And we're the support level that we're bouncing from, it's not the greatest support level. Let's see if we pull on that golden pocket. It's actually, I think it was our 786 level. It was around your 786 Fibonacci in here. You could see that, you know, a little bit of wickage past it, but it was pretty much your 786 Fibonacci. You did sweep up kind of this liquidity trail that was created in here. And what is important with this is we are bearishly backtesting the value area high of the range. And it's the bearish backtest of your pitchfork band. So determining on what happens here, if we do reject here, because we've already kind of tested the POC, you're more likely to drop to the value area low at the very least. I mean, this could get very aggressive to the downside here. Now, in a bullish scenario, we're still looking for a bigger 3-wave move. And there's a really interesting level of resistance above us at our 786 Fibonacci. So if we pull the Fibonacci from the high to the low, our 786 Fibonacci coming in around 74, 160-ish. And we have a naked weekly point of control up there as well. And then one more level I would like to talk to you guys about. But, and I want to zoom in here because we look like we're forming a low time frame potential head and shoulder here. And I want to see if this is going to break down, but let me just spend one more second here. So, obviously this area here is a big zone that I'll be looking for potential shorts at. Naked weekly point of control in your 786. And remember, in your wave 2, if all of this is a wave 1, your wave 2 retraces between the golden pocket and the 786 is your most common zone. Now the golden pocket is also interesting for me. If we put on the golden pocket of that same Fibonacci pull, you can see that golden pocket coming in right around 73K is where our anchored VWAP is on Coinbase. And anchored VWAP reject, you peak above it, see a failed auction above it, get back below it. If we come back up and reject from there, that could kind of be that distribution-like pattern that we look for, and we could see a rejection from there as well. So a couple different levels to pay attention to. I honestly like the 786 and the naked weekly point of control better. But with our anchored VWAP here at the golden pocket, that is an area I will be paying attention to. Okay, let's see on the 15-minute. Now, here's the thing. On the 15-minute, guys, we are starting to see that choppiness, that little bit of exhaustion coming in here. But we have not broken market structure bearishly. Now, could this be, you know, I guess left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we're going to dump here? It could be, but we don't have a bearish break in market structure. Generally, even if this was a head and shoulders, you'd want to come down and you want to sweep that low first, this local low in here, and then that makes it more probable to get the lower high and then dump. We didn't do that, and we still do have a bullish count of an Elliott, a bullish possibility of an Elliott wave count. So I do not want to say for certainty that this is going to break down right now in a head and shoulder, but this is something we're paying attention to. Like you can see right now, we're rejecting from our local golden pocket area, or attempting to see a rejection, but we don't see much bearish divergence on the chart. Even as we were coming up this morning to hit the pitchfork band, you can see higher highs here, but and lower highs on Market Cipher. So we had 15-minute bear div on Market Cipher, but NAMI not really showing any bear divs there. Hidden bear div, but it, you know, we want to look for those traditional bear divs. Now the 24-minute was showing some bear divs. Money flow was starting to top out. And if we look at our hourly chart, you didn't have really any bear divs, and money flow looked pretty aggressive into the upside. So I did not short this morning. I did not short the backtest of the value area high. I did not short the backtest of the pitchfork band. I was waiting actually to come up a little bit higher to grab that liquidity at $72,000. but that is still a short that I'm open to taking if we do come up and sweep this liquidity. And especially if we see like the kind of choppiness that I was just talking about with our Elliott wave count, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. If we come up one more high, SFP that, I would look for the potential breakdown here to see that short play out. Now, if we do break down, by the way, we're looking for a 3-wave corrective move to the upside, right? You're looking for an impulse in an A wave, a pullback, a 3-wave pullback in a B wave, and then you're looking for a C wave with impulse in a C wave as well. So we would have to say, okay, even if we're shorting 72K, we would at least have to take some profit at a higher low because there's the potential we could get that bigger zigzag correction to the upside. All right, let me check the chat here, see what everyone is up to. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Please hit the like button. If you guys get any sort of insight into the market from this live stream, please hit the like button for me. We're going to go through some other coins today, see if we can't get any trades going. I did end up taking a long on gold last night, guys, when gold was dumping, like gold and silver. Now, silver almost came down to our $58 level, and I do think silver we might see one more drop on silver to come down to that $58 level, where I am telling you guys right now, I am going to be looking for good longs there, potential swing long opportunities at $58. Okay. Golden Liquidations, thank you so much for the kind comment, man. Appreciate you being here as always. And at Coin Operated, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? It's good to see you in here. Decrypto, good afternoon to you. Dad87, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your support as always. I'm still bearish since we grabbed the range high. When do we expect the range lows to get taken? Yeah, so Dad87, we should be expecting it relatively within the next couple of weeks at max, right? Because if we're looking at what's been playing out, and we finally got that high rejecting from that 0.5 and that anchored VWAP on Bybit, 0.5 anchored VWAP here. And then we're going to see that bigger drop to the downside. We need to be watching for that bigger drop to the downside. If this was a wave 1, this retrace in a wave 2 could take, you know, a day or 2, maybe 3 days max. But then we're going to see that big wave 3 come in. And that big wave 3 to the downside is where we could dump straight to 60K to take out your 60K lows, and then see a wave 4 and then a wave 5 coming down to that $58,000, $58,000 area of support, which is very crucial. So I would expect it soon, relatively soon here. Yeah, and I guess today is going to be important. If the daily candle closes above the value area high again, man, I mean, this range has just been so choppy, guys, and generally your volume profiles are a little bit more respected than this one has been. You know, a lot of big deviations below value area low, a lot of big deviations above value area high. But we are trading back within the volume profile. So we do need to pay attention to those important volume nodes there. And remember, volume and liquidity is the most important thing. So we did sweep this high, but we didn't sweep entirely this little liquidity trail that kind of started this range. So it would be nice to come up just a little bit higher to sweep that. All right. Quiles, what's up, man? Welcome in. Dread Mining, welcome in. Pull the fib from 62K. Okay, you're looking at this fib here from 62K. Let me just get rid of this real quick. Let's pull that. Yeah, that is going to be your golden pocket from 62K as well. It looks like we front ran it just barely, though. At least on Bybit. Let me check on Coinbase here. Coinbase did hit into that. Okay, very nice there. Awesome. Dread Mining, thank you for pointing that out to me. Now, you are still on macro timeframes, more macro timeframes, making bullish market structure, higher highs and higher lows and higher highs and higher lows. Once again, the possibility of this entire structure being impulsive is very low, guys, because it's so hard to count a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 in here. There's so much problems with that. But I can say there's a very small possibility that it is going to be a triple 1, 2, and then you're going to get your giant third wave exploding to the upside here. You would need to get that like soon, and it would need to come in with volume. Of course, the start of our move this morning has kicked in with volume, but let's see if it's a kind of a manipulation news event or if we're actually going to see this thing continue to break out. But more importantly is that larger golden pocket, right? Pulled from the range lows at 60K to your range highs. You can see that golden pocket is coming in right at the value area low of the range. There's also a daily level there as well. And I believe there was a weekly level as well there. There's a lot of support there. So no naked dailies. Do we have any naked weeklies? No. Weekly level there and a daily level there inside of this box. So, I mean, this is, and then of course the liquidity from the weekend lows. So this box of support is still a strong confluence, but we have to be careful here because if we are going to get that bigger dump to the downside, you know, all of this was a 1, we're going to get a 2, and then we're going to get that big 3. We could flush through this, even though there's a lot of confluence here. We could flush through it, and we have the liquidity to keep us going, you know, trigger this liquidity, trigger this one, this one, this one, all this. We could sweep it all really aggressively to the downside, and maybe, you know, even sweeping 60K or, you know, front running it in a wave 3, wave 4, and then a wave 5. We'll have to see how that all plays out if we start getting that impulsive price action to the downside. But for now, we're playing the range, right? We're playing the range until it breaks. As far as the volume profile trading goes, we are confirming reacceptance back within the range. By the way, our weekly candle, if we go back to the weekly chart, our weekly candle did close back inside of our volume profile, that weekly candle from last week. So that is a bearish sign that we closed back inside. And if we look at our daily candles, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and even today's the 5th daily candle of being back inside that range. So when you see these kind of intermediate time frame ranges, that is enough time to confirm reacceptance back within the range. And now that we've confirmed reacceptance, you had your initial back test and rejection. Are we going to get a higher time frame back test and a rejection? I just want to come in here. So yeah, 12-minute chart. Let's actually check out our order flow real quick. How does order flow look right now? So first off, I want to say this. On the push up today, you can see on the push up, huge decrease in open interest here. Really, it was a squeeze, right? A short squeeze. When you're seeing shorts getting closed out, that's a forced market buy. That's why your CVD is rising here, because closing of shorts is market buys. And we know that it was closing of shorts and not new long positions because your open interest was dumping here. But pretty much this entire move up, open interest has been dropping for the entire move up. So I would say it's not the strongest move up. It's more squeezy like than a healthy move to the upside. We had this liquidity trail that was building over the weekend. And so when you first start to break it, you can sweep it very quickly. And especially if there's kind of some news that triggers that as well. Ooh, okay. We are not really seeing too much on our order flow here as far as bearish CVD divergence or bullish CVD divergences. Let me go in on the 5-minute here. Yeah, and no bullish divergences. First of all, we're on a drop in open interest, so it wouldn't be absorption anyways, but we could see some, it almost looks like we're in, we're close to making some bearish CVD. You know, from that high, that means we're right here. So we're below it, but if this can continue to come up a little bit and we are going to start kind of rejecting here, that would be that bearish CVD. Of course, it would be on a decrease in OI, so it's not as strong. But that is when, remember the last time we got the bearish CVD, guys, Sleepy pointed that out to us. That was in this area here. And then we got that giant drop that happened. So let's see if we get something similar in here, some bearish CVD. That's our channel that we're forming right now. You could take it from the low to the higher low. You look at the two highs. Perfect channel being formed. So very nice to see. And one of the things we need to pay attention to is if this was our 1-2s in here, kind of the channel of 1-2s, you get the big breakout. And then now these are our 4-5s that are starting. One of the things that we do want to watch for is the high of the channel. So, you know, if we're going to, you know, do something like a push up to the high of the channel, which is also where your golden pocket and your anchored VWAP is at that high, it's just a little bit more confluence now to look for that short up there. We would want to see bearish divergences developing between all these highs, this high, and if we come up here, this high as well, we would want to see bear divs forming on like the hourly and under. Right now, 12-minute is showing another potential drive of bear div. So we had bear div in here. That gave us our little push down. If we do get back above again, you could see that we could be forming more bear divs as well. Okay, do you use the RSI and stochastic on MarketCypher B? I don't, Yoav Patron, I don't use them too much, but I will tell you this. So when you see the stochastic RSI, here, these two, the RSI and the stochastic RSI in here, when they come together in an oversold area or in an undersold area at the bottom, then that is when you generally see the top. Let me go on to a higher time frame here. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame, and let me show you a good example of this. So within this range, you can see how they're split apart for quite a while, split apart. You can tell the difference. And then when they come together and become as one, and they're finally hitting that top zone, that is when you kind of top out on the price, and then you get your aggressive drop. So now they split apart. We're seeing them split apart, split apart. They come together right here at the top, at your kind of your big dotted line up there. They come together almost as one. You're at the top again. That's when you see your drop. So I like looking at that on the 4-hour time frame for more like day trade short positions, but you can also zoom in on that and look at it on like the hourly time frame. And generally, when you're coming up close to those tops, you can see how they've merged together to become one, merged together to become one, merged together to become one. You know, you get the idea. Merge together to become one. And generally, it does give you, especially if you have bear divs on your momentum at that time, it's a warning sign that you could be about to roll over. And speaking of that, look at, we are coming together this morning on that hourly, right as we were coming up into that high, and they're still kind of, you know, stuck together here for a bit. So yeah, we might see that drop come in. 15-minute time frame, it gets a little bit more choppy with that strategy, but you can see very similar as well. Like you can see here, we were topping out as far as like we were up in this upper half of our momentum bar, but they weren't squeezed together as one. So, you know, it's just range type price action. Only when they come together and kind of merge as one, that is when you could see that bigger drop come in. So I hope that helps a little bit, but that's all I could say with that part. Jay Kurlander, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Patrick Schooner, welcome in as well. Could you do TA on strategy and Tesla? Yes, we'll do turbo strategy, Tesla. We'll look at some of those. Sleepy, what's up, my man? Welcome in. Sleepy was the one who gave us that bearish CVD. He pointed out to us. I think that was last Tuesday or Thursday's live stream a little bit ago, but it actually played out very nicely. So yeah, the lines are together now on multiple time frames. You're right. And that's why we could see a dump. And so here's the thing. When you're using this strategy and the lines are coming together, you also generally want to look at your price action on the chart. Like, are they coming together at a certain resistance? Like, because if they're coming together in the middle of nowhere, hey, maybe it might be a fake out where you're going to go like this and come up again. But if you're at a key crucial resistance and now they're coming together, then that's like a big, you know, headlights flashing warning sign. Like, okay, you know, we're at resistance and we're seeing these things come together and we have bear divs on the momentum. Is this going to be a top? Let me check here. I just want to look at this. All right, we are getting some 5-minute bear div into that golden pocket. Money flows crossing into the red. Let's just entertain a little bit of a short trade here. A scalp short. So if we're going to short right now, our stop is going to go above that high from about 25 minutes ago. And the first TP, yeah, your VWAP could be the first TP. That is close to a 3-to-1. You would be grabbing the liquidity. And I would say at least your second TP would probably having to be taking that low there. So, you know, let me check on the 15-minute and let's look at NAMI here. So NAMI is showing those 15-minute bear divs in this little chop in here into that golden pocket, 15-minute bear divs forming. And I just want to check the 8-hour. Is the 8-hour money flow draining out? No, it's actually about to cross into the into the green, excuse me. And you did see these 8-hour bull divs confirmed on NAMI. I mean, it would be a scalp short, right? Like, a scalp short that could turn into something bigger. You could use about 2x your entire portfolio, and if you get stopped out, you're only going to lose 1%. Actually, yeah, I mean, look at this. All these higher highs in here, all these lower highs in here, money flow draining out. Hidden bear div just printed. Rejecting from VWAP. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. So your higher low golden pocket is going to be at the bottom of the channel. So if, you know, you probably here would have been nice to take the short. If you would have taken the short from here, stop above that high, targeting, taking out these lows as the TP, that's a pretty good scalp, a 5-to-1 risk reward short there. But knowing that we're in bullish momentum, bullish market structure, if we're going to continue grinding within this channel to see that buying exhaustion come in, then also looking for a low around $70,500 where your golden pocket is in confluence with the bottom of the channel could be a nice little scalp long, right? So we would wait in that instance, we would wait to come down here, bounce. After you're getting the bounce, you're going to enter the long somewhere in here. Stop would go below that local low, and I would just be targeting, honestly, taking out the highs. And then, of course, you could leave some open for that golden pocket. Let's check this. I know we're dealing on the 1 minute here, so. Yeah, attempting to hold the value area low right now. The thing I'm concerned about, because I am contemplating taking a scalp short right now. I don't like how we keep hitting into this golden pocket. And we're not really seeing the rejection we want to see. After hitting into the 0.65 here, we took all the liquidity. And now we could start to see a new move back up here. So even on the 1 minute, I mean, you're bouncing from, it looks like your local golden pocket area. Or just about. All right. Let's go into some of the altcoins real quick, and we can check what was it? Tesla and strategy. We'll check Tesla and strategy as well. But just real quick here, guys, I want to take a second to talk about the total market cap. That was the thumbnail of today's video, because unlike Bitcoin, on the 6-week range that we've been in, first off, I warned about this, how we were rejecting from our 0.5 Fibonacci and from the pitchfork midline. And when we zoom out to the daily time frame, I mean, historically, it just does not look good. When we've been within this pitchfork, you know, was messing around with the upper band for a bit, lost it, back tested it bearishly, fell to the midline. You got the bounce from the midline. You got that corrective move up to back test the upper band, rejected, drop hard. Now, after bouncing from the bottom band, we're coming back up and we're back testing the midline and rejecting, and we're back inside the volume profile. We are bouncing from the POC, so unlike Bitcoin, it did not lose the POC. So we got the nice drop. First of all, you can see here, kind of the failed auction range, drop back with inside, back test, on those two bearish back tests. Because you rejected, you expect to drop to the POC. We did drop to the POC. Now that the POC is held a couple times, you move up to retest that value area high. And I would like to personally sweep all of this liquidity. We haven't swept all of it yet. There is still one high coming in that we could sweep there, but you have swept now at least this guy right here. You swept this high, but it would be nice to sweep these two as well. And then if you reject after sweeping that liquidity, I mean, you're expecting a rotation down to value area low, or potentially much, much lower. And because we are on the higher time frames rejecting from a very key resistance, this could really be the spot where we do see the dump come in. Ethereum, Ethereum right now is forming, and Ethereum's actually breaking out of its value area high today. Ethereum's volume profile has been a bit different, and Ethereum's been holding a lot better. You know, we did fall back into it after bouncing. We kind of created this triangle in here, which is a continuation pattern, right? We dump back in. What I will say about Ethereum is you do see a pretty clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. So now we have to watch for a lower high before making another lower low here. Locally, though, Ethereum does look somewhat bullish because we're above the value area high and we're forming a continuation consolidation pattern above the value area high. So you get the big pump forming this triangle in here. This is more likely because we pumped into it, more likely to pump out of it. We're also above the value area high here. So I was watching for, I think it was at 2240-ish. Let's see, I'll pull our golden pocket. Yeah, 2247 golden pocket, and then you would sweep that liquidity trail right into that golden pocket. So that is a zone to be watching out for. And then let's see, what else was there? Yeah, and then it's also your pitchfork band, the upper part of your pitchfork band. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. If we do reject around that 2250 area, it could be real nice, because if we get the impulse down, we kind of get consolidation, come up here, reject from your lower high golden pocket. That's when you could put in the dump. We did front run our golden pocket that was at the lows, the low pitchfork band, which is kind of a shame. I was looking for a long there. We have two different pitchforks that align down in this box. So if we do get a short from here, I'll be looking to take some profit here and potentially look for a scalp long, but we have to be careful because that is when the big dump could come in. Solana is flipping its pitchfork band to support this morning, and I do think we are going to continue working our way up just a little bit higher. That $93 area was that important support resistance flip, and it's also your golden pocket up there. I believe we had a naked weekly up there. It's a little bit higher. Your naked weekly is just a little bit higher. And let's look at our naked dailies. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty much it. So if we do continue on Solana, actually, let's do this. This general area in here is an area that I'm looking for potential rejection to short. You can see on Solana, we have taken out those liquidity from the range highs, like this smaller range that we were in last week. And we are not really seeing the rejection that we want to see, not a clean SFP. So I do think Solana is going to continue up to at least 93. And then we'll have to see, you know, we did reject from that upper pitchfork band, pretty perfect. Saw a bounce from the bottom, but that was just a 3-wave corrective move. We did front run the low just barely of the pitchfork, and it was because your anchored VWAP was there. But because we're this bullish pitchfork structure that we've been grinding in, I think we could see that big breakdown come in soon for this thing. So because we have changed market structure by taking out these lows, we have lower lows. Now, if we put in that lower high, I would really like to see that dump come in. So I'm going to be looking for short at that $93 to $94 area, 93.3 to 93.8, let's say. But I want to see, as we're grinding up within this channel here, I want to see bear divs coming in between all the highs within the channel. So far, we are kind of seeing, actually not really on, it's not as good as Bitcoin's, but yeah, I guess I wouldn't call that a bear div yet. Okay, and then let's look at now SUI, guys. We got that really nice short that played out. So over the weekend, we were starting to lose our POC, and on this back test right here, I shorted this here. Let me just do that. I shorted right here. My stop was just above the local highs that were right above us, and then my TP was hitting the golden pocket. It was an 8-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and it played out so perfectly. We actually had that continuing to go down, pretty much coming to value area low. But speaking of SUI, we did front run the value area low. And if we pull our larger golden pocket, come on, get on there. Yeah, okay, that's why we're bouncing from our largest golden pocket here. But we're back testing the POC. So if we do reject here, I do expect us to come down and make new lows. We want to be looking to take out this liquidity here if we're going to reject. And you can see here on SUI as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a pretty clean impulse down here. So what we're looking for is a lower high. And the most common area is to pull your Fibonacci retracement from the impulse highs to the impulse lows. And between the golden pocket and the 786 is where you really want to be looking for those. So let me get rid of this. So one of the things that we could be watching for is something like that, because you want to see generally a 3-wave move to get up there. And let's see if we have Interesting. No naked dailies up there or naked weeklies. Yeah, there's not a lot of confluence up there, to be honest. We are rejecting from that daily, though, today. You can see right there's a daily level, and that's kind of where our high is today. Hit that daily level, hit that POC, and we're starting to consolidate here. Let me check really quickly on Bitcoin, and then I want to go into some of those. Okay, man, we are starting to reject from that. That might have been a good short there, but it's too late now. Let's look for a scalp long. I'm going to set an alert here on that higher low golden pocket. We do have that 6-minute fair value gap right in here, that filling that right into the bottom of the channel and right into that golden pocket might give us a nice little scalp long opportunity. Okay, guys, really quickly here, I want to take a second to shout out the partner of the channel, the partners. BYDFI is the main partner. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange, so all you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link in the description, you can get a minimum of 20% discounts on trading fees, and you can actually earn up to 40% discounts on trading fees if you deposit some large amounts into the exchange. They're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, and they have some of the best initial deposit bonuses in the entire industry. For instance, if you deposit $100, you can get a 50% deposit bonus on that. Most exchanges only do 20% on $100. They're doing 20% deposit bonuses up to $1,000 and 10% deposit bonuses up to $20,000. So generally twice as much as most exchanges will do. I've also partnered with BYDFI to create that Telegram community where I do try to keep you guys posted on any trades that I'm taking and on updates throughout the day on Bitcoin and other altcoins if I see opportunities. That Telegram community is free. It's a private community, but it is free. All you need to do to get into that community is sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit the minimum deposit of $100 or more, and that'll get you access to the Telegram. So once you've done that, click on the Telegram link in the description of this video, or RPink posted it in the chat. Thank you for that, RPink. And you can, in the Telegram channel, type in /verify in your BYDFI user ID, and that'll get you access to the Telegram. And once you're in, you're in. Okay. Next partner of the channel is Blowfin. Blowfin is the second non-KYC exchange partnership I have, and Blowfin is doing some really cool rewards here. 20% deposit bonuses, 10% on $10,000, so you can get $1,000 futures bonus if you deposit $10,000. They're offering VIP 1 for 30 days, and then if you deposit just $5, you can get a $10 voucher. That's first 300 users only. So if you're interested in, Blowfin is another really great non-KYC exchange that I trust. I've been, behind the scenes with them for a few months before I ended up partnering. So that's one. The two KYC partners I have are MEXC and Bybit. MEXC is offering 10% cashback deposit bonus up to $1,000 for your initial deposit, and Bybit's offering up to $30,000 in futures trading bonuses. And then lastly, the last partner of the channel is NAMI Trading. And NAMI is this momentum and money flow indicator you see at the bottom of your screen here. I use it for my confirmations on all of my trades. Like as we're coming down, even if it's a scalp trade, as we're coming down to this golden pocket here, I want to see some bull divs on the chart. Probably have to look on the 5-minute and under. But it helps me stay out of bad trades that don't have proper confirmation and to get into good trades that are more probable to play out because they do have proper confirmation. So for me, it's tremendously increased my profit margins. If you're interested in purchasing NAMI, they just did this 2.0 update, so it's been live for less than a week or about a week. It's really so far what I've used of it, it's really nice. It does this smart adaptive time frame to, whatever time frame you're on, it shifts it to kind of get those momentum waves more clear and mark out those divs for you more clearly. So if you have trouble reading divs by sight on the chart, you can look at NAMI. It kind of prints them out for you. And I have partnered with them to get you guys 50% off. So if you guys do want NAMI, click the affiliate link in the description below. And once you're on the checkout page there, Divine50 is the discount code. So just use Divine50 and you guys can get 50% off that. All right, let's see what Biddy is doing here. She's coming down to that golden pocket. MicroStrategy. Oops. What? Oh gosh, why can't I remember MicroStrategy's ticker symbol? Let's just do this. MSTR. That's why. I had a brain fart there. I'm sorry, guys. Ooh, okay. So one of the things we were looking at with MicroStrategy is the big dump down, the impulse to the downside. This is on the daily time frame, by the way, but wave 1, wave 2, your big wave 3, we're dumping not only back with inside the pitchfork. You can see the pitchfork was acting as resistance here, forming that range between the upper band and the top of the pitchfork. But after seeing that failed auction breakout up here, failed auction range, you fall back inside. We are kind of chopping around the upper band of the pitchfork, but I have to say this looks corrective. A bunch of choppy overlap in here, and yeah, we're after last week popping out of that pitchfork band, you're back inside and you're bearishly backtesting it today. For the last couple of days, you've been bearishly backtesting and you're not able to get back above that. Let me just pull this here. Yeah, so you can see we're just chopping within this channel here, but you really are working on, you fell back inside the pitchfork band and you keep butting up against it. There's a real possibility that we're going to drop. And if we drop, the first level I'd be looking is the bottom of the channel in confluence with the bottom of the pitchfork band. So that's going to be around like 121, let's say. And then that's probably going to be around where the golden pocket is as well. Yeah. So your golden pocket's there as well. So that would be 121. If you do start to reject today, I would be looking for a drop to around 121. You do have some liquidity very close by that as well, just underneath that. But yeah, I mean, like, even if you bounce here, I'd be looking for a lower high before probably breaking this thing down. It just looks a bit bearish to me. This entire move up that we've been seeing since February 5th, 6 weeks or so, it looks corrective and choppy and low volume. Yeah, this is also your value area high, guys. So we are back inside the volume profile. You can see you bounce from the POC throughout the last couple days, but you're rejecting from the upper pitchfork band and the value area high. And this even looks... Do we have bear divs in here? On NAMI, we do have some bear divs between this high and this high. That is a higher high here. And you can see we have lower highs there. Yeah, I mean, money flow doesn't look the worst on Market Cypher B, but I would be really, really careful here, guys, because you do see the bear divs just barely. Higher high between those two. You do have a lower high in here. And then, of course, on NAMI, I guess, yeah, between these two. But on NAMI on the hour, you had those bear divs printing pretty aggressively. So a couple different scenarios here. You could, if we do start to close the daily candle above the value area high in your pitchfork band, you might see another big move up. And I would be looking at the golden pocket around 165, because then that would be the top of the channel again. So you have this kind of channel. So either you reject here and you fall to the bottom, or if you can break above this and start closing the daily candle above this, I have a feeling you're going to come up to the top up here, which would be the top of the channel, the golden pocket. And then it's also probably going to be a POC inside of this range. That's a little bit lower. Let's see if there's any naked dailies in there or naked weeklies. Yeah, naked weeklies just about that level as well. Naked dailies aren't going to go back that far, but if there's a naked weekly there, there's more likely a naked daily there as well. So as far as trading this thing, resistance like 160 to 165, support, local support is going to be around 121. But you have to be careful because we are falling back inside the volume profile. Yeah, your value area low is there as well. So actually really nice confluence zones for this thing. Value area low is here because if you're finding reacceptance back within this volume profile, you're rejecting here, you expect to move down to the value area low. And that would be the bottom of the channel, which is your kind of your trend of the last 6 weeks. And it's your golden pocket, the bottom of the pitchfork band. This is going to be kind of a dangerous long, depending on, you know, if we're grinding down there slowly, I would definitely look for the long. With a lot of choppy overlap in that selling exhaustion that we start to see within like those channels or the wedge, then I would look for long here. If it's dumping aggressively, I would be very careful because this could be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 could dump all the way down to sweep the liquidity before seeing a wave 4 and then another 5 come in. All right, let me check. Let's scroll back to Bitcoin real quick, see how Bitcoin's doing. All right, we're coming to that support level real quick here. We're not really seeing very many bull divs here. Actually, like no bull divs here. Money flow's looking pretty harsh. Okay, Liam, welcome in, man. Thank you for being here. Does BYDFI have good fees? Yeah, I think they do. And the discounts, you do get discounts on fees too if you sign up with the link. So I do think it definitely does help. And of course, it depends. They have a tier system, so the more you deposit, the higher fees you get. Now, to get the 40% off of fees, I think you have to deposit like 7 figures or more. So that's not very likely for most people, but it's there. Market Cypher B looks like a whale drawing. I wonder if CryptoFace has that in his pattern. Yeah, right. He does draw some pretty interesting patterns. Gosh, we're front running that golden pocket. Actually, not a good sign. Sol, we just did Sol there. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Sleepy, for giving BYDFI a try. And Rpink, really appreciate you as always posting those links for me, man. Like, thank you so much for doing that. ADA and AVAX, yes, we'll cover those. So I just went through MicroStrategy. What was the other one we were going to look at? Turbo. Let me just go to Turbo. I think I have my alert set. And we'll pull off, if we do start to hit into that golden pocket, we'll pull off Turbo and go back to Bitcoin. Man, I just don't like the amount of wicks you see on Turbo. Like all these big wicks here, just that's low liquidity. I mean, bottom line is I'm still looking for another low still on Turbo. Yeah, you know, we were looking at just from these highs here. You got your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now, this looks like it was WXY correction here. You did reject between the 382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci. So now we're looking for a move down in your wave 5. So what we need to look at now is this price action in here. Let me get rid of this. Actually, you know, this is interesting on Turbo because I would have to say this does look more three-wavy corrective, which does mean that you're either looking to double top this in some sort of flat or continue pushing to the upside here. Yeah, and it looks like you hit your 786 Fibonacci. You're kind of bouncing from that log 786 Fibonacci. So we can analyze, let me get rid of this channel now. Channel's done with. This bottoming structure in here. I still don't like, John, how we did not take out this low. I still don't like it. I mean, you kind of, I guess very, very slightly took out that low. But when you see a liquidity grab, you want to see the wick pierce the level by a little bit to actually stop out the people who put their stops underneath. You didn't really get that. It's more of a double bottom. Yes, technically you wicked it just barely, but it's more of a double bottom. So it's pretty much twice the liquidity to grab now. You're back inside the volume profile, but I mean, I have to say this was a higher low here. First off, you broke market structure bullishly by breaking this high. So now you have a higher high, higher low. Just going with market structure, you have to say, are we due for another higher high? I mean, this is starting to look a bit rolly, but you don't really see the bear divs because those are all lower highs. And actually, I bet you if we go in, like, it's going to be just a triangle that you're forming. And remember, a triangle is a continuation consolidation pattern. I mean, this looks like it's starting to break a little bit. Yeah, and you are printing some hidden bear divs in here. On these lower highs, your momentum is topping out more and more. So hidden bear divs, what I would say with the hidden bear divs that we're seeing and seeing this triangle consolidation, what you often see in this, and technically it is a continuation consolidation pattern. So you have a higher chance to break up out of this. But what we see a lot with the market makers is they'll wick down to kind of grab the lows of the triangle and then they break up. So I would be watching for that, or, you know, yeah, you would be coming down to that back test of the value area low as well. Reject value area high. If you lose POC, you rotate down to value area low. And with this front running it here after the rejection, that is a possibility. Oops, that's supposed to be a naked daily there. Not an... Jesus. Okay, cool. So for local support too, with this triangle, sometimes you do bounce from the golden pocket. In this case, it's more closer to your 786. Let me make sure that's not on log scale. Okay. So that would be a support there. With the naked daily, your range point of control, and your 786, that's a local, very local internal support. If you're going to see the fake out, two things are going to happen of this triangle. You're going to come down here, bounce, and then continue up, or you're going to sweep it all and then continue up. That's the trap market makers like to play. But because of all this here, I mean, this is really hard to count as impulsive. Look at all this choppy overlap in here. So what if these are a bunch of 1-2s with choppy overlap? There's no 4-5s coming in here. You get your 3-wave move in a correction, and then this honestly looks like sort of a 3-wave move. So to me, this overall structure down is a 3-wave structure. Now, could you get a push up here in a flat, take that, and then come all the way back down to take the lows? Yes, you could. But John, I think you're looking at higher time frame and spot buys on this thing. At least you are starting to form a base now down here. You can see that this sideways range and this base is starting to form. I would love to get one more low to take out those double bottom. And remember, our big zone of support is this box down here. So if we did even pierce into that, it would be even better. Uh, 8 hour 200 yeah, 200 MA. I think that POC is 8 hour 200 moving average. I think you mean there. Well, are you scalping this thing or day trading it, or are you just looking at spot trading this, John, that turbo? Dang, we are getting the bounce from the golden pocket as well. Bybit even front ran it just barely. Man, this is annoying. Let's hope we can get one more little drop into this. Potentially look for a little scalp long. Yeah, on spot. John, I know it sucks waiting. I would be patient, and if you're worried about missing out on it, start to dollar cost average on turbo. You are really low right now. You are starting to form that bottoming range. Now it's a relatively small range, only being on the 4 hour, like on the daily time frame, it's only, a few weeks down here. But it is starting to form a bottoming range now. Oftentimes with accumulation, though, what you will see, and let me see if I can find a good, I guess not on this one, there's not really, but you get, remember, with an accumulation pattern, it's like an inverse head and shoulders or a descending channel. So you have your initial tap 1, you get your tap 2, which is always lower than your tap 1, whether it's a model 1 or a model 2 distribution, it's always lower. Then in a model 2 distribution, you generally come down between the golden pocket and the 786, and that gives you your proverbial inverse head and shoulders, right? And that is an accumulation range that is forming, and then you usually break out an expansion. You see expansion phase. Now in a model 1 Wyckoff accumulation, you have your initial tap 1, kind of range for a bit. You get your tap 2, which is always deeper than your tap 1, and then generally you'll get a third lower low, kind of creating that selling exhaustion, and you have your accumulation in here, but it's relatively sideways. It's not super steep like this, right? It's not super steep. And then you get generally a slower breakout as well. But I would be personally watching for that. Now, you do technically have the bull divs because you did take out that low, this low here with that low. You do technically have the bull divs. You do technically have money flow curving to the upside on the daily time frame. So that is somewhat of a good sign. And you're still within your bottoming range. Like this thing could break up to take out all this eventually. So if you're buying it down here, dollar cost averaging down here, and even if it breaks up to sweep like these two, that's still a pretty big win there. And you do have weekly bull divs confirmed. Weekly bull divs are confirmed. Low, lower low, bull divs confirmed, bull divs confirmed. So I would say if this, and this is not financial advice, I don't give financial advice, but if this was me personally, if I was interested in investing into this long term, I probably would start dollar cost averaging within this range. Whenever we're in kind of red candle days within this range, I would start dollar cost averaging. Yes, I'm in accumulation. Thank you, Theo. Yeah, Theo B. Thank you for that. Okay, Tesla. Let me check Bitcoin first. Guys, the streams have been super boring lately. Like, what is going on with Bitcoin here? Actually, I want to pull this to right there. Yeah, that's going to be our spot, guys. The value area low of this little channel that we've been in for most of the day is at that golden pocket, and it's pretty much the bottom of your channel as well. What would be really nice now, if we could come down and sweep that low we just did into that golden pocket, it would potentially give us those bull divs on the 1 minute. You didn't really have too many bull divs here on the 1 minute. And I know we're talking about a 1 minute chart, but this is scalp zone. So just trying to look at getting a scalp in for today while we're live. We want to go with market structure, right? The trend is your friend until the end, and the trend has been up. You know, since the lows yesterday. Higher high, or not higher high, but high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So now are we going to see another higher high? Okay, I was going to do Tesla. Wow. Okay, so Tesla was in this really nice descending channel on the weekly. We broke out of it, sweep the highs, back test it. You're bouncing. So as soon as you bounced here, you expected to take out these highs, but we just did that. Unfortunately, it does not look good on Tesla because you do have higher highs. You have lower highs here. Money flow is now starting to drain out and cross into the red on the weekly. You can see even on NAMI between this high and this high, you have the bear divs. And you even have local bear divs on the weekly here. Money flows heavily crossing into the red. Now your momentum is close to bottoming out on the weekly, which should give you maybe a couple weeks of a move up. But overall, I mean, this thing with the bear divs that are playing out, let's mark out some. I mean, I like this little order block in here, this weekly order block. One thing I don't like is this liquidity trail. If you start to enter this liquidity trail, it's like you're going to get the sweep of it. Let's go golden pocket. And you have that weekly fair value gap in here. I guess you don't need to put this on log scale because that's not more than a 100% move. So yeah, filling in this weekly fair value gap into the golden pocket at 350-ish, 352. I would expect, because you're starting to bottom out on your momentum, you might get a little bit of a bounce here. But I would be careful of forming a lower high before seeing this bigger drop. Let's look at a couple things in here. So we will pull our volume profile of the entire price action since breaking out of the channel. And then I would like to pull the bigger range that you've been in since 2021. This sideways range here. All right. We're above the value area high. Let's see if we do see from the bear divs that are created on the weekly. I mean, I think we have a pretty high likelihood of backtesting the value area high at the very least. And I believe that is where your golden pocket's very close to that. Okay, and that is probably going to be more than a 100% move. Yeah, 132. So that one you do need to put on log scale. Okay, and that's going to shift your golden pocket to your more proper 61.8% retracement. So from the last big weekly low in April of 2025 to the highs that we made in December, you have some pretty crucial support coming in this zone. Now, you have to be careful because it's right in the middle of this liquidity trail. Okay, no naked monthlies until you get down, obviously, to your big range POC. We don't have, our indicator doesn't go back this far into this price action, but I guarantee you there's some sort of point of control in this. Just based off of these higher lows in here. And then the one other thing we can look at is in your bullish structure, flat 3, 4. I mean, it does look like you still need a little bit more within this last push up here. But you are creating some pretty bad bear divs in there. So let's just look at one more thing. You're going to pull your largest golden pocket. Okay, and let's put that volume profile back on. I don't like where this golden pocket is at. Looking at just the last part of our, we need to make this modified. Oh, it is modified. Let's see here. Modified's the right one. So, and then, yeah, I mean, you can see this is our last kind of leg up. So this corrective move on the weekly, we're getting our last kind of push up. And this, by the way, could be the end of a much bigger, you know, kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the weekly or monthly time frame, the start of a large high time frame impulse. So what I would be watching for is you are starting to get, you know, in the fifth and final leg of a bigger weekly impulse. Weekly bear divs confirmed. Let me check the monthly real quick. Do we have monthly bear divs? Yeah, we even have some pretty bad monthly bear divs. First off, between your 2021 high and these highs, you have some bear divs, pretty aggressive bear divs. Money flows draining out. But on NAMI, you have bear divs on the monthly between your December 2024 and your December 2025. So this thing is starting to look a bit toppy in here. You could see one more move to the top of the pitchfork. So what I would be looking for in here is obviously our box that we were already looking at. This is your back test of the value area high. It's a naked weekly point of control. It's your pitchfork midline. This would be the first zone where I would be looking for at least some sort of relief bounce. You're almost invalidating the bear divs, the bull divs on the daily. You're about to invalidate them, but you have very slight ones right now. You are starting to get that choppy overlap. Look on the daily time frame. This is your channel. You're starting to get that choppy overlap in here to come to the bottom of the channel. If you reject the midline, which we're kind of at right now, I would like personally to come down to around 350 to 352 to 347-ish. And then you might, this would, to me, would at least be a spot for a scalp long opportunity or a day trade long opportunity. And what I'd be looking at is if you have some bull divs coming into this along there, and what I would be doing is pulling the volume profile of this upper range, and wherever the back test of that value area low is, that is where I would be looking. Or even if you get back inside the volume profile, the value area high, but you would want to be looking at a lower high coming in. So along from this zone, but then you would pull your golden pocket here. And then, yeah, I guess your POC, which is probably where a naked weekly POC is going to be as well. So I would be looking for something like this. And then once we get up there, I would be looking for shorts up here to bring all the way down here. Those are the big trades I'd be looking at. Okay, oh, let's check our open interest here. Do we see bearish CVDs coming in? Let's see. Aggregated CVD has a bearish CVD right now. Okay, Sleepy, thank you. We do have a decrease in OI, so be aware of that. Like the last time that bearish CVD played out, Sleepy, we had a very nice steady rise in open interest. And that bearish absorption really only plays out when you have something to absorb. And right now we don't really have new positions opening to absorb. But yeah, very, very locally here. Lower highs, higher highs here. You do have some bearish CVD. We did front run that golden pocket. because we front ran that golden pocket. I mean, I don't like that we front run that. Now I probably wouldn't be looking for the long from this anymore. We're coming up a little bit too much here. If we would have done this and then came down, I would have looked for the long. But now we're coming up past the POC of that little range, so I don't like that for... I mean, volume has just died off here, guys. Died off completely. Let's see. I was going to do another one. ADA and AVAX. Okay, AVAX really quickly here. And I'll just kind of keep it more on the higher time frame, I guess, guys. And dang it. Because looks like there's a lot of requests in here. But bottom line with AVAX is we're back testing. We have a large range on AVAX. This bottoming range that goes back to pretty much 2022, the bear market of 2022. If you remember, and let me get to a cleaner chart here. So we had kind of this is kind of a model 1 accumulation, right? You see your tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. In here, it's that descending channel. This was kind of your accumulation range that was forming. You get your expansion out of it. But that range was important because we pulled the volume profile of that range. And we were looking for bounces around the value area low when we came down here. But we obviously are breaking down through that. We're even breaking our bear market lows and just chopping around the lows of the bear market. Let me just throw that on there because it just doesn't look good here. You can see those were your bear market lows. You swept them, but this range that we've been in for 6 weeks just does not look healthy. It looks like a corrective move. And we did reject, by the way, guys, we shorted this right here at $36. The SFP of 36.17 because it was so much resistance up here. It was a liquidity grab. It was a point of control. It was a naked weekly point of control. It was a weekly level. It was your a daily level and your logarithmic golden pocket. What I would say is you really don't have too much down below you. You know, on the daily time frame, you have a daily level at 645, and then you have your consolidation around $5, $4.50 to $5. Yeah, and honestly, like, I'd say worst case scenario, you do come down to like 385 in that general zone there. But let's go to the daily time frame, and all you can do now is analyze this range here. But I'll tell you, this range looks corrective to me. We're rising up in this ascending channel that just looks like a corrective ascending channel. If volume is going lower and lower as you're rising up in the channel, that's a classic sign of a corrective move before ultimately breaking down and taking out the lows again. So I would be very careful on AVAX, knowing that we have this kind of corrective channel with declining volume as you're rising within the channel. It does look like we're trying to bounce. You know, we're seeing a fake out at the bottom of the channel. You could pull two ranges here. You could do it from that, or, you know, this is technically part of the impulse down. So I like to pull my ranges from the end of the impulse. Yeah, this is really interesting to me because this actually does, unlike Bitcoin where you did see a kind of a wave 2 up before seeing that wave 3, 4, 5, this all looks kind of like one corrective move. Then you have your running flat here and then another corrective move. So actually it looks pretty good there. If you're bullish, it looks pretty good to continue chopping within this channel. Let's pull the golden pocket real quick. I don't like how that is in the middle of this. You're going to have a big fair value gap in here. Like if you go to the 8-hour time frame, look at this is a huge fair value gap on this 8-hour candle. And this golden pocket's right in the middle of that. You did sweep the liquidity from this sideways range, though. You can see this sideways range in here. You swept it. Let's see if we have lower time frame bear divs. Not really. No, you don't. So, I mean, I think that you are likely to at least locally continue up a little bit. You are around the value area high back test, so this is going to be important, but watching for another high. I would be personally watching for another high. Let's look at our naked weeklies within this range. Yeah, see where your 786 is going to be aligning now more nicely with the naked weekly level, and it would be filling in that 8-hour fair value gap for the most part. This naked weekly is at the top of that 8-hour fair value gap. So I actually don't like the golden pocket near as much as your 786 in your naked weekly point of control. Yeah, there's really not too much to be looking at. I think, in my opinion, this range here is definitely far more corrective. Now, could we get one more high locally? Yes, we could. And the reason why is because this does look a little bit more 3-wave corrective. So that means we could come up one more time. But I would be watching for this to break down eventually. Ugh, we did have a daily level at that value area low, and I don't like how we're front running that. I guess Bitcoin did as well, though. Oops. I was supposed to be going through these quick. Look at the value area low daily. So knowing that you have an SFP of that weekend low into that, that could be a nice little scalp long opportunity. If you do get the rejection here, it doesn't look like we're going to get a full rejection here, but the support just below us looks pretty nice. And then above us, I would just be looking at this. And if you don't reject from that, you're going to take the highs and potentially come up to like the top of the channel, 11, 12 bucks. Mind Tapestry, welcome in, my friend. Mr. Rekh-Chun, welcome in as well. Thank you for the kind comment, man. I appreciate you. Okay, exchange inflow momentum, $500 million in 40 minutes. Wow. Okay, of inflows, $500 million of inflows. Is that into all of crypto or is that just into Bitcoin, Mr. Wreckage Chun? We haven't covered Tau yet. Let's see here. I know you guys are interested in Bitcoin too. Let me get back to Bitcoin. I'll try to go back to Bitcoin after every single altcoin I do. We can check on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, we're continuing the bullish market structure, guys. We are bouncing from the bottom of the channel, and it was also kind of your intraday range value area low and golden pocket, even though it was front run. Oops, I meant to go to the... And then, of course, we're on really low time frame here, but look at this move down here. This corrective, right? A, B, your C wave extended a little bit, but that's an ABC correction in there. So now is this a 1, 2, and then you're going to get a 3, 4, 5 coming up to the highs of the channel. Unfortunately, our open interest is still just kind of dropping here. If we were building up some shorts in this zone, we could squeeze them really hard, but we're not really building up anything actually because your open interest is dropping here. You got above the POC on the small time frames and even just flipped it. So it's likely you are going to work your way up, continue working your way up. Man, volume has just severely dropped off though. Severely. To me, this is a kind of a no trade zone right now. Even for scalps, this is kind of hard. You know, you could have scalped that if you were willing to take a front run of the golden pocket. Also, remember the short, you probably are going to get stopped out. But if you scalp short here and you started to bounce here, I would have at least pulled out 25%. But you know, you got your choppy, grindy overlap here, your big move up, and now we're starting to get choppy, grindy overlap here. I'm kind of starting to like this golden pocket area, even though, once again, just like with AVAX, it's in the middle of a big fair value gap on the 8-hour. And you got to be careful for those fair value gaps. Look at this big ass imbalance in here. And so sometimes when you start to fill those, you get sucked up through them like a vacuum cleaner, just straight up. And it would suck you up to your 786 in your naked weekly at 74.1 to 74.2. But your anchored VWAP is there, and the top of your channel that you're in is there. Okay. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom. Did you look at that wave 4 triangle? I missed it. If so, are you talking about on Bitcoin? And I think you might be talking about like this sort of, let me just zoom out here. something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, triangle running flat, you know, that is, yep, I think that's pretty much it. You know, you have your running flat in here, and then you have your 5. But because the impulse ended, because the impulse from the highs to the lows is now complete, we're looking for a 3-wave move up to make a lower high before then possibly making a lower low. So we want to be paying attention to those important resistance zones. To me, actually, the best one is the naked weekly in the 786 above us. Or, you know, I do like the pitchfork band, the liquidity grab into the pitchfork band. And actually, I forgot to show you guys. Let me go on the lower time frames. Let me hide some of this, get it out of the way. And we're going to hide the big pitchfork. This is our bigger bearish pitchfork where we bounce from the bottom at 60K. But we can look at the bullish pitchfork structure. That's the one we just did. The bullish pitchfork structure of this pitchfork. So from 60K to your first major corrective high down to your higher low. I mean, there's a lot there. I do think that golden pocket is starting to look pretty good with the amount of confluence. The only thing I'm concerned about is that big 8-hour fair value gap in there. Sometimes you get sucked through it. Now, what would be interesting is let's look at the 50% mark on that fair value gap. If we use our tool, it'll generally mark out where that 50% fair value gap is. Yep. Okay, cool. Sometimes you only fill the fair value gap 50% of the time, or 50%, and you can see the 50% mark of the fair value gap is right in that golden pocket. So sometimes it'll just fill half of the fair value gap and then reverse, not the whole thing. You can see here, 50% fair value gap mark. So actually, that is somewhat acceptable there to see that the 50% fair value gap is in the golden pocket. Your pitchfork midline's there. Your anchored VWAP is there. And then the top of our low time frame channel is there. Our very low time frame 15-minute channel is there as well. How does it go up with no volume? Really, when you're seeing volume go down, it's just the amount of trading going down. But it's algorithms, right? You have bots that are scalping this, micro bots that are scalping it, and it's also just the way order books work. You know, kind of that basic supply and demand there. But I would say if it goes up with low volume, little to no volume like that, it's a weak move, right? But you're obviously still having some people that are buying and selling of this thing. Your open interest dropping just means positions are closing out. So within this range here that we've been seeing for most of the day, you have actually a lot of traders closing out positions or being forced to close them out, right? Liquidated, forced to close, or just closing them. They're like, hey, man, we're consolidating at value area high. I don't like what we're seeing. I'm going to close my long. Or the vice versa. We shorted up here, but we're not really dumping. I'm going to close my short, and that's why you continue to see this drop. What I will say is that you see that even locally from the high from earlier this morning, this initial high, your CVD is overall kind of going up. Longs are coming in. Well, I guess I would say shorts are closing out because a short closing out is a market buy. But we know it's not new longs coming in because the open interest is dropping. So you're seeing a lot of shorts close up here. Pretty much getting stopped out. That could be the trap by the market makers, right? Manipulation. You get the pump just to stop out all the shorts, and then you could just dump right back down. Yeah, I've been... Tony, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you in here. I've been trading London market, which is why I've been late lately. No worries, Tony. No worries at all, bro. Just happy to see you in here. Happy to see you in here. Awesome, man. I am glad they're giving you 55% off. That's really cool. Okay, yep. Either if you use my referral code, great. If you don't, that's okay too, Tony. Get whatever's the best deal for you, man. I just want you to get it whatever's best for you, because I know that you're working hard to build your portfolio and stuff right now. So save every penny you can to build your portfolio, okay? So no worries on not using the affiliate link. Big Diamond Whale, or Big Deals Whale, welcome in, man. I think you're looking at left shoulder, and it's about to explode to make the head and shoulder beautiful. Yeah, we could be, could be. The only thing I don't like about the head and shoulders is you didn't have the break in market structure. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But like, it's better if you break market structure and then you come up for the right shoulder, because then you're more likely to put in that lower high before creating a lower low. Tesla is on a support trend line for my pitchfork. It looks like it wants to push brutal from 370. Yeah, wait, push higher. I mean, we do have bear divs on Tesla, but yes, it did look like on the weekly that we were due for a bounce soon. Sol BTC pair getting some pump, make some noise on the daily. Yeah, let me see. Okay, I know there was a couple other alts to cover, then I'll cover that. Tau. I was gonna do Tau. Well, okay, so you have your kind of your big bottoming range here. And actually, let me go to the USDT chart, because I believe that has more price action history. Yeah. Couple things to look at. So you see how this 1.618 is on my chart? We were looking at an impulse here. A wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and then you could get the 4 and the 5 here coming up. And remember, on Friday, we talked about these 3 highs. Sweeping all of these highs together would be the nicest thing to see. We could still be in our wave 3. So your wave 1, your wave 2, and then from the start of your wave 2, you have some 1, 2s in here. So then you get your 3, a 4, 5, a 4, a 5. So we need within the wave 3, you need like one more high. And then you could be seeing your 1, 2, 3. You could get that bigger pullback and then a 5. So I do still think locally it's likely that Tau does sweep up into those highs. Let's go to lower time frames now, and let's get rid of all the scalping stuff we were looking at. And let's look at this sideways range. Let's hide this bigger range. Yeah, because you do have a lot of choppy overlap in here. 1, 2. Man, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that could be like a contracting diagonal in a wave 1. And then you got your second 2. So there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. We need one more 5 now coming up. And that 1.618 is just above us. And that three levels of liquidity right into your golden pocket is just above us. So I really would be looking around 324 to end your wave 3. And then you might see that bigger pullback down to like 235-ish before seeing a wave 5 that could bring you up. We'll have to look at those targets after the wave 4 pullback. But I mean, it looks overall, it doesn't look too bad here on the charts for Tau. It looks like we could continue up. Money flow is attempting to come back into the green on the 4-hour. Let's look at our 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, I do think you could continue going here. Nami is starting to show some, like, today's price action, some bear divs here. That's it, though. And if we... Okay, so we didn't. Golden Pocket kind of held. You got a lot of wickage through it, and you wicked probably down to your 786. No, you didn't. But you can see how the Golden Pocket through the weekend, it's got a lot of chop through it, but it's kind of holding. I would say your bullish market structure is still intact overall on the higher time frames, and I would say it is likely that we are at least going to come up in SFP Thursday's highs into your 1.618. Now, it would be a little bit nicer if you just came a little bit higher than that to 324. And then you could see that bigger pullback. But I would just be, monitoring this range in here, this little range in here. And if you start to break your value area high, you want to see some volume coming in on that break. You're actually attempting that right now. Money flow looks pretty good on the hourly. Let's go to the 15. Ooh, okay. I mean, oops. I don't like how we did have the 1 hour bear div on NAMI between these two highs, remember, or actually between this high and this high from earlier today. This is concerning to me. Huge drop in volume as you're rising up here. So watch for the fake out. Yeah, I mean, it's you're at your golden pocket area right now. You do have some bear divs between earlier today and the volume pushing going down. You want to see this spike like relatively soon here. You want to break this golden pocket with a spike in volume. Oop. Spike in volume on the break of this golden pocket up. If not, then we could say I'm still overall bullish to come higher, but we could say that you're going to chop in here for a little bit longer first, before doing that, because you did see a front run of this low on Saturday. That's a weekend low. And then you could see on Sunday, you front ran that low. So I would say if you're going to reject here, you might come all the way back down and grab that before seeing that move up to 324. Kind of extending this range a little bit before seeing those other 4-5s come in. But if you do come down here, first, I would be looking for an SFP of these double bottom weekend lows to come up and at least hit this high at 310 into your 1.618. So in other words, you get the SFP long wherever that wick is going to stop, and I would be targeting the highs up here. I would leave some of it running for that golden pocket, and that could be a really nice scalp if that plays out. I have an alert set, so I'll try to let you guys know if I take that in the Telegram. Why is Arrow up 15%? I don't know why, but let's see. SD Aerodrome, I believe it is. Wow. Here's the thing. It did pump right around the time when everything pumped because Trump's tweet. But you have to be very, very careful of what just happened. Did you grab it? It's a double top there. So actually, ooh, I mean, I don't like how small that SFP is, but that does look like you had a double top here pretty much. High, pretty much the same area, a high. You push up really aggressively to hit that. Are you about to dump? This was looking pretty channelish in here. right? You had your channel. You broke it down, but you're now breaking back into it. You're rejecting from the midline as well. So if you're gonna be, and you, it's not a super nice liquidity grab. It's more of a double top there. If you do pull back now and start to hold the bottom of the channel, I would say you are going to make another run to actually like wick that money out before potentially seeing a drop. Yeah, this is a bit rough because on the lower time frames, you are above the value area high and you're holding it as support right now. But on the daily time frame, it's going to look like you're just rejecting and you're not able to break out of the value area high. So the daily candle close today is important, whether you close above or below that value area high at 34.95. But geez, look at this, super nice. So you broke the channel down, but you bounce from the value area low. You smoke straight through the value POC and value area high. Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't look too bearish to me right now. The move down is on also a decrease in volume. So you might not even make it to the bottom of the channel. You might backtest and hold this before making another run up. Man, this is super boring. Okay. Guys, please hit the like button if you get anything out of the stream today, any sort of insight. Also, know you can join the Telegram. All you have to do is sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link, deposit the minimum deposit of $100 or more. And then once you do deposit the money into BYDFI, which is your money, by the way, it's you're just depositing on the exchange in hopes you'll try it out, like it, and stick with it as the exchange. But after you do that, there's a Telegram link in the description. Click the Telegram link, and in that Telegram verify channel, type in /verify and your BYDFI user ID, and then you'll have automatic access to the Telegram. And once you're in, you're in. Okay, what was I going to look at? Sol BTC. Sol BTC. Let's see, was Binance better for that? I can say right now, I would be very, very cautious of rising within this corrective looking range to backtest this before potentially dropping. But yeah, it's starting to pump a little bit. Like on the day, you have a nice little daily bullish engulfing candle here. I mean, it's likely that we do come higher. It's likely we at least backtest this. You also have that daily level that's up there, or that daily order block right here. Actually, it's partially been filled, but the daily level hasn't been hit. Two ways to pull the range. You can pull it on all the price action after losing the value area low, Or what I like to do is pull it from the end of the impulse. Like all of this is impulsive to the downside. Either way, you're breaking out of your value area high. Breaking out of the value area high. To me, it's likely that you at least take out the range highs with this. Or, I mean, this high for sure. Looks like you're coming to take that out. But let's see if you can't get up there. Geez, there's not a lot on this. Let's look at our oscillator on the higher time frames. Do we see any sort of... I mean, you are seeing bull divs, multiple drives of bull div on the weekly. Low, low, low. 1, 2, 3 drives of bull div. Money flow's been crossing up for a couple months now, or bottomed out and turning to the upside for a couple months now. So in the bearish scenario, or excuse me, bullish scenario, you're not going to reject here and drop to that 786, but you're going to break back into it and then probably see a pretty dang quick rise. And I would be looking up towards that POC. You have that weekly up there. That POC. First off, that should be on log scale. Let's put on. Yeah, so, man, the golden pocket has that weekly order block right here. And the reason why this weekly order block is so important, because you can see, first of all, big imbalance candle, then your weekly order block, and then another big imbalance candle. So those if you see an order block followed by an imbalance candle, like a candle that leaves a fair value gap, those order blocks are the most important order blocks. So this weekly order block here into your logarithmic golden pocket, I think that is the level to be watching for, like, really sell the Bitcoin, buy some Solana, right? Because if this does come down here, it's going to be a nice zone of support. It's probably also going to be the value area high of this little accumulation zone. Yeah, pretty much the value area high of this little accumulation zone in here. Yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. I'm just going to set an alert on this. So, message. And then, of course, you could also look at your big range. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. If you don't hold that, then you are likely to come down to the POC 786 area. But that would be another zone for me to start looking for buys on this thing. Okay, I know I'm way behind in the chat. every time when BTC goes to the range highs, everyone gets so bullish and wants it to break out to the upside. Yeah, it's just your classic, right? Everyone a little pump on a day and everyone thinks it's going to new all-time highs. It's literally classic retail mentality. Yeah, BTC is about to print a green dot on the daily. I mean, that's a pretty nice bullish engulfing candle so far for the day. So yeah, if it does, I mean, first off, we have to realize that the big push up today was kind of on some news, and I don't like how that was on news. But I would really be watching for the lower high, just based off of the Elliott waves and based off the fact that the entire range has looked more corrective. I really would be looking for that. Yeah, classic FOMO longs. Yep. Crypto Wander One, thank you for the kind comment, man. Appreciate you so much. And Decrypto, thank you for the great comment as well. I'm glad you guys like the stream. Time Attack, welcome in, my friend. So good to see you in here. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for modding. Okay. Well, and Tony, I see what you're saying. Thank you for the support, man. First of all, you've been an awesome part of the community here. I really appreciate you being here, and I do appreciate the support from you. And a spiritual berserker, absolutely. God bless you as well, man. Guys, there is not a whole lot going on in, man, this has been the most boring stream for Bitcoin. I will say this. Yes, you are seeing this kind of ascending channel. Could we bounce again and then see it go up? I don't really like how this is continuing to go down, but I guess this is what we do want to see if you're looking for 4 5s to come in, right? So you have your 1 2 1 2, your 3 4 5 4. If we do get that breakout in a 5, if you continue to see some declining volume as you're making these 4 5s, and then you're creating bear divs between the highs here on, like, you know, the hour and under, that is actually a really good zone with volume confirmation and momentum confirmation to be looking for the short. I would just be paying attention to that golden pocket because anchored VWAP from the 98K high is there. Your golden pocket of the move down over the past week or so is there. Your golden pocket retracement. Your pitchfork midline is there, the bearish backtest of it. And there was one more thing there. Let's see here. Anchored VWAP, golden pocket, pitchfork. Oh, and the top of the channel, the top of this 15-minute channel that we've been developing throughout the day. ETH is just chopping in a triangle. Kind of being annoying here. And Solana is looking at least better than the rest. It took out its range liquidity and it's not really rejecting. I do think Solana's coming up to at least that 93.1, 93.8 area. And the way we're chopping up now in kind of a wedge with decreasing volume, if you do continue to pop up here with decreasing volume and some bear divs, could be a nice short. Guys, give me a second. I'm getting a phone call. I have to put this on mute and I have to answer this. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I do got to get taken off here in about 15 minutes. Okay, let me read the chat here. It's going to dump. Yeah, it's going to dump into daily close. Let's see if it does, man. I would like to for Bitcoin to take one more high and potentially grab that liquidity at 72. Remember the bigger bearish pitchfork. So this is our smaller bullish pitchfork of the 6-week range that we've been in. But the bigger bearish pitchfork, I guess we're at the top of it right now. Let me just throw this. And these pitchforks, pitchfork bands are no joke. And guys, we have been kind of consolidating the past couple of weeks in and around this pitchfork band with just the weakened range deviation down here. The one thing I would be worried about is we are going to see, like, if we do start to break above this pitchfork band, I mean, I'm still overall looking for a lower high to come in before making that lower low and potentially seeing that big dump come in. But if you start to close your daily candle above the value area high of this range and above the pitchfork band, you might just see continuation, right? You might even continue up to take out the range highs again. This range has been getting, it's been great for me to trade. I've actually made some significant profits within this range, but I think everyone is kind of due for this thing to find a resolution soon. I was way off. Okay, let me see here. Here it comes. Hood, say his first name ages ago, but I forget. Just no, my first name's Ryan, guys. Appreciate your approach. Thank you, Slick Shoes. I appreciate that, man. I do try to be genuine with you guys. I really do. I try to be transparent, open, and honest with you guys all the time. I let you guys know if I'm wrong, or, you know, like with the Telegram, there's some trades that I don't post that I take in there because I don't know if you guys that are in the Telegram are using proper risk management. So say I'm taking a scalp, like say this trade right here, I was going to long here at that golden pocket and take a scalp to bring it up to, you know, our golden pocket at the top of the channel. And you longed after a giant pump with me. We longed this knowing we had an invalidation, knowing we had a proper stop loss, knowing all those things. And if you get stopped out, you lose 1% on a scalp. Whoop-de-doo. You know, you'll probably make 7 or 8% on your next scalp. We made 8% over the weekend on a Sui scalp that took less than an hour. But if you do long this and you don't use proper risk management, say you go in 50% here because you're like, oh man, that looks like it's going to play out. I'm going to just, you know, FOMO in half my portfolio, and it doesn't play out and you get stopped out. It's more risky because we're longing at the top. We're longing after a pump today at the value area high of the range. So like certain trades I don't post in the Telegram because I don't want someone that's not using proper risk management to get wrecked from it. And I understand that's not fully my responsibility to make sure that you guys are using proper risk management, but I just, I try to stick with a balance of where I know that there is some newer traders in the group that I do not want them to ruin their things because they're not fully, you know, disciplined with risk management yet. And I try to be open and genuine with everything to you guys, but also I try to provide enough where it's worth it for you guys as well, where you guys are, you know, tuning in and actually catching some of the trades. I think that we cover a lot of the trades that I talk about in the live streams. So if you're not like tuning into the live streams, you're missing out on a lot in the live streams because I do cover a lot of scenarios and a lot of the like possible levels I'm looking for longs and shorts and all that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Liam. Yeah, it is nice. I get that. Yep. All right. I will say this is getting super low on volume. Like we are probably going to see some sort of break soon of this thing. Like the volume is getting extremely low right now. Open interest is continuing to decrease here. But we are seeing nothing significant here, but a couple shorts came in this. I mean, even this here kind of looks like a nice little bull flag forming. Nothing. There's real like look at even on the 1 minute candle now. We're barely printing dojis on a 1 minute. I am sorry for this, guys. This is wild. Let's look at ETH. Is ETH being super slow too? I think ETH, if we can break up to that 2240-ish mark, I am interested in taking the scalp short from there if we're seeing the SFP and if we're seeing the bear divs as we come up there. So I'm looking for like 1 hour and under bear divs. But you can see we have this high from the kind of the range that was developing. And this is that sideways range that was developing over the weekend or throughout last week. And then this was over the weekend. But that is interesting to me. And then if you look at, yeah, because you can see this is our smaller bullish pitchfork, right? This one is based off of our 6-week range. 6-week range. And yeah, by the way, this didn't play out. That was the bullish scenarios that we were going to get a, 1, 2, and then we were going to get a 3 that came up here with some 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. That didn't play out. The bulls had their chance. They failed. But, first off, we did front run your more macro golden pocket, pulled from the range low to the range high. That is at the bottom of the pitchfork band. And it's at the bottom of a much bigger pitchfork. So this is our small pitchfork we've been in for 6 weeks. But you can see the bottom of the big pitchfork on the daily time frame. It has been holding for the most part. Rejected the midline, came all the way down to the bottom. The bottom is chopping and holding just barely. If we lose that golden pocket around 1960 to 1980, man, I think we could flush down very quickly to our weekly and our range point of control. That's a 4 or 5 year long range point of control. This goes back to May of 2021, this point of control here. And of course, it's also the bottom of a bigger bullish pitchfork. Your range point of control, your weekly is right there. And But anyways, guys, I think that Ethereum, because we're consolidating within that little triangle on the 15-minute, it does look like it wants to break up here a little, couple more highs, and even Bitcoin looks like it wants to get a couple more highs. But if we're doing that on decreasing volume, that's actually good to be looking for shorts as you're getting those new highs with decreasing volume. And I believe there was one other level that I was looking at. The top of the bullish pitchfork is at 2445-ish. And that would be an SFP of our range highs. Or not. Okay, no, that wasn't the top of the pitchfork. That's your 1.618. And honestly, that's already been invalidated because we were looking at a 1, 2, 1, 2, big push up in a 3, and that was supposed to go up to that 1.618 before we started seeing some 4.5s come in. But we failed. There's overlap between this high and this low, so that invalidates that. Hard invalidation for that scenario. So now we're looking at impulse down, lower high, lower low. Maybe this is going to be a sweet short from that 2250 area, a super sweet short to really take this thing down. As far as our naked weeklies and naked dailies, we do have this naked weekly up here. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, that daily actually hasn't been tapped. You can see it was barely front ran the next day. So maybe it wasn't. Let's. And anyways, it's so close to the highs. I would honestly think that you're going to come take out the highs. Yeah. Even though your 886 is there. And the reason why I'm putting the 886 on the chart is because in sideways ranges, you do get some pretty harsh reactions from the 886. I think this was an 886 move down here. Yeah, it was your 886. So, you know, like the only thing on Ethereum, you do have the SFP into the golden pocket where your small pitchfork is. Did I just turn that off? Yeah, where your small pitchfork band is, the upper band of the small pitchfork. But if you break above that, like look at nice fair value gap coming into your next box of resistance, which I would say would be the daily, the naked weekly, and the 786, and filling the fair value gap. But at that point, I would be really careful for just watching for an SFP of the range highs. Quiet Alpha, welcome in, my man. Okay, let me do circle really quickly. CRCL. That's a stock. Yeah, we were looking for guys on circle the double 1-2 impulse, so 1-2-1-2, you big third wave, but it looks like honestly the third wave is continuing here up through your golden pocket. Man, this is actually looking pretty nice. You are coming up to some pretty key resistance though. naked monthly point of control, golden pocket, and liquidity. Okay, so I would definitely be watching out for that. This is also going to be your, okay, we're hitting into the 786 a couple days ago. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, naked monthly point of control at 147.8. You have some lower high liquidity into that naked monthly, and it's also where the golden pocket is. And then you can see the highs of the liquidity here are at 159.47, pretty much right at your 0.65 of your golden pocket. So to me, this definitely is starting to look I mean, not starting to, this looks impulsive, right? What I would be saying is, let me go on to the lower time frames. It does look like you have some choppiness in here with these, you know, 1, 2s. That's a contracting diagonal, and another 1, and then 2. And then you get your 3. But it looks like, honestly, all of this could be the 3. I know you're starting to get that choppy overlap in here, but you didn't really see any good pullbacks or ranges forming. Okay, I don't like that channel. Let's pull it from the lows. Let's go from the lows here, where this starts grinding sideways. And let's pull this. Yeah, so see, you got your 3, 4 lows. Now you got 1 high, 2 high, 3 highs, rejecting straight from that 786. So now we might be starting some wave 4 pullbacks, right? You have a couple 1, 2s in here, your big third wave. So this might be a small 4 before getting another 5, before getting another 4, before getting another 5 now. But I would be watching right above us, 147, really 148 to 159 is pretty significant resistance. Let's make sure, let me go zoom out to the daily, and then we'll turn on that naked monthly point of control. Yeah, I mean, your naked monthly point of control's in there, guys, so just be careful. And your golden pocket. Man, this could be a nice short, actually. Oops. I am thinking, and as you're rising up, you are creating very slight bear divs on NAMI on the daily time frame. Let's go to our 8-hour and see how that looks. Well, you do have bear div between these 2 highs. And you can see now, as you're grinding in here in this channel, volume is getting lower and lower and lower. So you want to, this is a good sign for a possible reversal soon, but you want to wait until you actually get up to resistance. You know, you don't want to reverse. Now, yes, you are at the 786, and that is a zone where you could reject. To me, it's a much better zone to get up into the golden pocket and to grab the liquidity. Volume and liquidity are the most important. Remember that, guys. And the volume naked monthly point of control is a naked volume node, high volume node. And then we also have the liquidity. Liquidity here and liquidity here. Either one of them. Or both of them, I should say. And let's look at an anchored VWAP from the all-time high. Ooh, okay. Wow. That kind of sucks, guys. You are at your 786, which is also your anchored VWAP from the all-time high. Like, I would start being very cautious here. Start looking, you know, and this is not financial advice, I don't give financial advice, but I am personally going to start looking for shorts on this thing. Or if you did buy some, I think I did buy some. Oh, I can't remember where I bought it. I bought some Circle. I know it was after this range and somewhere within this dump. I bought some. So I'm going to be looking to sell that relatively soon here. Let's see. Yo, Divine Hood, they said they would readjust so you still get the referral. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for that, Tony. Appreciate the work for that, dude. Much love to you, man. And I'm glad you're getting it. You know, if you have any questions on learning it and everything, I will try to help you in the best way I can. Okay, guys, I do got to get going. I have somewhere to be, and I will see you guys. Now, I am not going to be streaming tomorrow. The reason why I'm streaming today instead of on Tuesday is because tomorrow I have an important thing that I had to do, so I had to switch up my schedule a bit. So, unfortunately, tomorrow I won't be streaming, but I will be live again Thursday and Friday. And then I'll make videos tomorrow. I'll make videos on Wednesday around market close. But please hit the like button on your way out, guys. Much love to you all. Really appreciate y'all so much, and I will see you